There was a very interesting story about a particular wealthy man that in his old age he called his three sons together. He was about to die and he called his three sons together, wanting to teach them the principle of wealth. And he gave them a piece of gold each to go away and come back to him after 1 year. He was going to teach them a principle of wealth. There have been so many tales about the man in the city. Where is the city where most people, there's always something happening about their money. There are armed robbers, there are bad business people all around in the city. But what they find out that somehow, some way, he has been able to keep a clean record no matter what happened. Never gave an account of his money being stolen. He never talked about anybody, taking his business for granted of any way. He has had a smooth business record over the years, and many people in the city often wonder how has he been able to do that. He had a very big vault of money underneath the ground, and they wonder why his money has never been stolen, despite the fact that other businessmen in the same city kept having record of people looting their money and all kind of things happening to their businesses. But Joram, that's his name, has always been able to keep a very clean record. So he called his three children together. He called Eliab, Nathan, and Michal. He called them together and he was going to teach them the principle of money, and he gave them gold each and told them to go away and come back to him after a year. The first son is a keeper. Immediately got the money. This was a child that has been able to live with the father for many years and always kept a clean record. And the money the father gave him, he wanted to preserve the money. He didn't want anything to happen to the money, so he dug a ground and kept the money in. Since my father gave me this money, it's better I keep it, and when it's 1 year I go back, keep it in a very safe place, and after 1 year I go back and give it to him. So he took the money from the father, went away, and for a whole year the son kept the money and went about his normal businesses. The second son was a spender. Immediately got the money from the father. He went on a spending spree, invited friends, lived a good life, calling his friend over, having a good time. And when the money started dwindling, eventually all his friends went away, and that was how he spent the gold that the father gave him. The third son, which was a very wise son, the listener, listened to what the father was not saying. The father never told any one of them to go and do business with the money. All he did was give them the money and told them to go away and come back to him after a year. The third son was wiser. He listened to what the father was not saying. He's a listener. And when the father gave them the money to go away, he went away with the money and kept looking around, looking at the money, wondering what the money is saying. Every money in your hand is saying something. There is a character, there is a nature, there is a form that every money that comes into my hand and your hand is meant to take. So the third son kept listening to the money, wondering what the money was saying. Eventually, he looked around him and found a fisherman that had problem with his fishing net. The net was becoming old, and he would rather get a bigger one and a better one in order for him to become more productive. So he went to the fisherman, and for a fee, they agreed that he was going to lend him a part of his gold for him to go and invest for a fee and return it back to him. When he gave a part of the gold to the fisherman went, invested the money in buying a new net, and was able to become more productive in his fishing business. And later he came to him with double the gold he had given him. The fisherman invested the gold and became more productive. When the gold became doubled in his hand, he kept walking around, and not too long he saw a baker that also needed money in order to be able to expand his business. He lent the gold to the baker. He was able to expand his bakery and do his business in a more productive way, employing more hands, buying more material, doing everything bigger than he had ever done before, because now he has money to invest in the business and become more productive at what he was doing. So the money he lent to the fisherman, he also lent to the baker, and before you know what's happening, he had a bag full of gold. Then came the 1 year that the father told them to return home. The first son returned, Eliab returned to the father and said, "Daddy, here is the gold you gave me. I kept it away from everyone. I didn't allow anything to happen to it. I kept it safe." The father nodded and he said nothing. He nodded and collected the gold that he gave to the first son, Eliab. The second son returned, Nathan. Nathan returned and told the father that he used the money in the best way he could, called his friend over, rented a bigger apartment, lived a big good life, and the money did not get lost in his hand. He was able to use the money for what the most justified way that he could think of. The father said nothing. Then the third son returned with a bag of gold and told the father that he was able to invest the gold that the father gave him, and before he knew what was happening, the gold multiplied, doubled, then multiplied. Now he has a bag full of gold. The father was very impressed with him and collected the bag of gold from him and took them all, the three children, the three sons, he took them to the vault that they all believed that their father had, the vault of money, and the father took them there, only for them to find out that there was no money in the vault. So the father told them the secret of wealth, that money was not meant to be still. Money is more productive in movement. It's not about you keeping the money. It's not about you spending the money. It's about you being able to make the money multiply itself by putting it in the motion of productivity. And despite the fact that people are often talking about the fact that he was the richest man in the city, every time they got to a vault, all they found was paper, so the armed robbers that are coming to rob him could not find anything to steal from him, because all he had in the vault were agreements of contract he had entered into with most businessmen in the city, which was to be due in a later date. So his money was not in the vault. His money is in circulation in the city. He has invested in so many businesses. There are so many return that he's getting from others that he had invested into. What are we saying? Money kept in the bank is not being put in the most productive use. Money become more productive when it's kept in motion and invested in the right business.